Hi, everyone. I'm Max Weinstein from Dread Central. I'm here today with Johannes Roberts, and we're talking Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Johannes, thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, Max. Yeah, good pleasure.
So, directing a Resident Evil film comes with a great deal of expectations. What were some of the things from the other Resident Evil films that you wanted to avoid? And what did you feel was missing from those films that you wanted to bring to your vision of this world?
Yeah, I think the great thing is with the previous franchise, it was its whole separate thing. It was Paul and Mila, and it was their world, and it was a Paul. It was a sci-fi action, very shiny, very quick cut, clean world that was not really very rooted in the games. I was never felt overshadowed or worried about that side of things, because I think we very early on, and in fact right at the beginning, decided, let's go back to the games. We're rebooting. The reason we're rebooting the franchise is not to do more of the same, is to actually go back to where this started and create the Resident Evil that myself as a fan of the games would love to see. Like, I love the previous franchise, and I absolutely love Mila, but it was never the games. It was its own thing. It was the Alice show, and this I wanted to go to the games, and I wanted Claire to be the lead. I wanted Leon to be the lead. I wanted Chris to be the lead. I wanted them up front and central rather than subservient to another character. And to tell this really scary, creepy story set in this kind of small town, dying small town, and be really emotionally engaged with these characters, rather than that it was so action fighting and stuff. That it was really rooted in characters, their emotions, their beliefs, their drives, and the horror all came from that.
Absolutely. And I know that Resident Evil 2, the remake of that game, was a big influence on the atmospherics of this film. There's also a lot of cinematic influences. I know that you love John Carpenter, and have mentioned that his films were especially influential in Welcome to Raccoon City. I'm wondering what scenes or techniques from his films would you say kind of served as keys to honing the style of this film?
I love Carpenter. He's so unflashy. He's just a storyteller. And it's just wonderful. I remember when we were shooting the movie, you always, as a director, you always get that period where you're like, I don't know if this is working. Have I fucked this up? Is this not? And I remember, like, the low ebb. I think every director who might sort of read this will go, oh yeah, I know the low ebb. And I remember coming home, we were shooting nights, and I was just lost, and I was like, what am I going to do? It was such a tough shoot during a pandemic, and it was so cold, and everybody's in masks and coats and stuff, so you can't communicate with anybody, and it was a really quite isolating feeling. It felt like the thing. It felt like making the thing, and I was like, wow, how am I going to get through this? And I just sat there, and there was a copy of The Fog on my table. I think one of the producers, we for some reason left it there, and I just put it on, and everything came right in the world again. And I was just like, I just saw the wood for the trees, and I was just like, oh God, this guy, just gave me my love. I just sort of understood exactly how I should do it. The big thing that I took from Carpenter is this is very much Assault on Precinct 13. It's a group of people meeting at the police station. It's a siege movie. You have an ensemble cast. I tried to make the cinematography not flashy. I love using widescreen anamorphic lenses, like a Carpenter movie. I'm very wary of comparing myself in any way, but I love sort of taking his style of setting scenes up. But I think the biggest thing that I loved putting in this movie was the humor. I always find Assault on Precinct 13 like one of the funniest movies. It's dry. It's not it's a suspense thriller. And even like The Thing has like really beautiful moments of humor, like with Kurt Russell pouring whiskey down, the computer's front, and you know, and obviously you got Big Trouble in Little China, and I loved all that kind of world, and I felt that's how I engage with Carpenter, is through he makes me enter a world through humor, and so I really tried to bring that in. The Leon character very much comes out of an amalgamation of, you know, Jack Burton and Napoleon Wilson kind of characters that are MacReady a little bit, sort of built into this character. But yeah, the movie is infused with his influence on me.
Hello? Hey, you need help? You need help.